All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're jumping into a really cool idea, a mind-bending one actually. It's all about how we build our own reality. And this comes straight from chapter 25 of Dr. Michael Lukens' book, The Physics of Emotioning. So let's just get right to it with a huge question. Think about this for a second. Do circumstances shape you, or do you shape your circumstances? Is your life just a series of reactions to stuff that happens to you, or is it something you're actually creating from the inside out? That's the big puzzle we're going to try and solve today.
Okay, so the theory that really helps us tackle that question is called constructivism. And the core idea is pretty simple, but it's profound. It says that the world, it isn't something you just, passively watch like a movie. Nope, it's something you are actively building, piece by piece, every single moment.
And Dr. Lukens has this amazing way of putting it. He says life is kind of like a long run-on sentence without any punctuation. It's just this stream of events, one after another. And nothing has any real structure until we step in and provide the punctuation. We decide where the commas go, where the periods go. We create the meaning. So think about it this way. You're not a camera just passively recording what's in front of you. No way. You're the director. You are actively interpreting every single scene. You're deciding what it all means, how it fits together. You are literally a meaning-making machine.
Okay, I know that can sound a little out there, a little abstract, so let's bring it down to earth. Let's make it super concrete. We're going to run a little thought experiment right now to see this whole meaning-making thing in action.
All right, so just imagine this. You walk into a room and there's a table in the middle of it. On that table are 4 totally separate objects. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less.
And what's on the table? A steak, a snake, a copy of the Constitution, and a ball. Pretty random mix of stuff, right? Seems pretty straightforward, but trust me, as we're about to see, it is anything but.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting. We're going to bring in 2 very different people to look at these same 4 objects. These are characters from Dr. Lukens' book. One is an animal lover, and the other is an anti-American terrorist. I mean, you can't get much farther apart in perspective, right? So how are they going to see these 4 simple things? And the results are, well, they're wild. Just look at this breakdown. The animal lover sees the steak and thinks, animal cruelty. The terrorist sees the same steak and thinks, a meal to celebrate. The snake? To one, it's a creature to be loved. To the other, it's a potential weapon. The Constitution is something to protect animals with or something to burn. The ball was a pet toy or a place to hide a bomb. It's the exact same stuff, but their inner worlds transform them into completely different realities.
So what does this tell us? This is the whole point, right here. The meaning was never in the objects. It wasn't in the steak, it wasn't in the ball. It was created by the observer and projected onto them. The objects themselves are just blank canvases. We're the artists who show up with the paint.
Okay, that makes sense for physical things, right? Things we can see and touch. But what about all the other stuff? The stuff that makes up most of our lives, really. The ideas, the feelings, the abstract concepts. Yeah, exactly. I'm talking about things you can't touch, like intimacy, or oppression, or criticism. How do we create meaning for those? Because, let's be honest, those things feel just as real to us as a steak or a snake, maybe even more real.
All right, let's try one more little experiment. Go ahead, if you can, just close your eyes for a second. Now, imagine you're suddenly in a totally unfamiliar place. You have no idea where you are. The room, the sounds, the smells, all brand new. Even in that strange place, with your eyes closed, you haven't lost yourself, have you? You still know who you are. You still have your goals, your relationships, your values, your memories, your fears. That whole inner universe, it's portable. You carry it with you absolutely everywhere you go. And this has a name. Dr. Lukens calls it the semantic domain. It's that personal, internal world of ideas and meanings that we all carry around. And it's not just some kind of mental backdrop. For most of us, it's the main world we live in, day and day out.
So, if we're the ones creating all this meaning, you'd think it would be simple, right? I like this, I don't like that. But our inner worlds are almost never that neat and tidy. In fact, they are usually filled with contradictions. And that brings us to this key idea, ambivalence, which is just a fancy word for having conflicting feelings about the exact same thing at the exact same time. And this isn't some weird, rare thing. Dr. Lukens says no, this is a basic, fundamental part of being human. I mean, think about it. Ever had a job you both loved and hated? Or a relationship that's both the best thing in your life and also incredibly frustrating? Of course. Life would be so much simpler if we only felt one way about things, but we just don't. We are constantly navigating these messy, love-hate kinds of feelings. So, if you're feeling two things at once, how do you decide what to do? Well, it all comes down to what Dr. Lukens calls the salience factor. Basically, which feeling is turned up louder at that moment. If your interest is high but your fear is kind of low, you'll probably move forward, but cautiously. But what if you flip it? If the fear is screaming and the interest is just a whisper, you're going to back away, probably kicking yourself a little. The specific mix of your feelings is what dictates your action. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. Our physical body can only be in one place at one time, right? But our minds can be in 2, 3, 4 different meaningful places all at once. It can want to go left and right at the exact same time. And that conflict, that's the source of so much stuff we deal with. Hesitation, procrastination, you name it. Okay, so let's tie all of this together. What does this actually mean for you? We're meaning-making machines, we live in this inner world of ideas, and our feelings are a complicated mess. So what? What's the big takeaway for how we actually live our lives? This quote right here says everything. I can feel free behind bars and feel trapped by what appears to others to be a glorious career. Wow. Think about that. It means your experience of life isn't actually defined by what's happening on the outside. Freedom, feeling trapped, those are things we create on the inside. You could have everything the world calls success and feel like you're in a prison of your own making. So the bottom line is this. Your reality isn't some fixed thing out there that you just discover. It's not a destination, it's a continuous act of creation. It's a sculpture that you are always shaping. You are not a bystander in your own life. You are the author, you're the artist, you are the creator. And so that leaves us with one last, really big question for you to think about. If meaning isn't fixed, if you're the one holding the chisel, what reality are you going to choose to create? What kind of world? What kind of life? What kind of you are you going to build? Because the power and, the responsibility is all yours.